The UFC is driven by the feuds, the fights, and the teasing. However, fighting someone for free is a new one. That's got to be some sort of savagery. What would warrant a challenge like that? What conditions are attached? That's how you find out. So, stay tuned. With the thrilling drama surrounding the UFC, former UFC champ called Jake Paul out for a fight when he sent out a tweet to Dana White. There seem to be lots of underlying causes and egos could be bruised. Well, you're just about to find out. Henry Cejudo, the former flyweight and bantamweight champion who quit MMA in 2020, is willing to come out of retirement and settle a feud with his old boss, Dana White. Dana White has been consistently criticized and called out by Jake Paul, the YouTuber. Well, it seems Henry Cejudo is sick of his shenanigans. Paul, the YouTuber turned professional boxer, has established a fierce rivalry with White after criticizing fighters' pay, calling out a number of his stars, and beating ex-MMA champions Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley in the boxing ring. Now Cejudo, who recently offered to step in for Max Holloway in his fight against Alexander Volkanovski, has offered to take care of the problem child, despite being 4 stone lighter. Henry Cejudo decided to take matters into his own hands when he sent out a tweet. "Hey, Dana White, pay me to fight Alex and I'll beat up Jake Paul for free." A fight for free. Is there more at stake for Henry Cejudo? What conditions is he setting for his fight with Jake Paul? Through his entire story, Henry Cejudo may be making his way back into the seed. Following the timing of his tweet, which happened right after a major UFC 272 fight was canceled, it poses a picture that Cejudo could be eyeing a comeback. Added to his tweet was, "Pay me to fight Alex" as a condition of fighting Jake Paul for free. Henry Cejudo could also have history in his sights. Volkanovski, the featherweight champion, was scheduled to face Max Holloway in the 3rd installment of their trilogy at UFC 272. However, Holloway withdrew from the match due to injury, and no replacement has been announced. Cejudo, who has previously challenged Volkanovski, may be aiming to become the first UFC triple champion. Cejudo announced his retirement from MMA after defending his bantamweight title against Dominic Cruz in 2020, but has hinted at a comeback on several occasions. Could this be a chance to make a comeback? So, what does this mean for Jake Paul? Jake appears to be eyeing and making moves into the MMA world as he attempts to turn the fight game on its head once more, as there are plenty of fighters lining up to grapple with him. Jake Paul hasn't been afraid to call out potential opponents since he first entered the boxing ring. He's challenged and defeated UFC champion Tyron Woodley, and he's even attempted to set up fights with Conor McGregor and Canelo Alvarez. Naturally, some fighters have attempted to turn the tables by calling their shot and requesting a fight. For Jake Paul, this might be his shot at getting into MMA. Now, in related news, honored and proud, Dwayne Johnson announces partnership with the UFC. The UFC is making big moves, as is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The Hollywood superstar has teamed up with the UFC to launch a massive collaboration, Project Rock, the UFC's official global footwear partner ahead of UFC 270. The Rock, who is well known for his electrifying presence, is not new to the UFC, as he's had his fair share of involvement with the promotion. He was asked to reveal the BMF title at UFC 244 in late 2019. Taking to Twitter to announce the launch of their partnership, he tweeted "honored and proud," expressing his excitement about the plan. It is worth noting that the partnership will come into effect starting with UFC 270, Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane, following which all athletes and coaches will sport Project Rock footwear. According to UFC.com, the fighters are set to be provided with Project Rock BSR training shoes and Project Rock slides. Later in the summer, the Project Rock and UFC BSR 2 training shoes are set to be launched. Dwayne Johnson announced the launch of Project Rock in late 2015. The collaboration began in early 2016 in collaboration with the well-known sports brand Under Armour. Next, Twitter reacts as wrestler Francis Ngannou outpoints Cyril Gane at UFC 270. One of the most anticipated heavyweight fights in recent memory came to an unexpected conclusion. When a fighter like Francis Ngannou enters the octagon, one does not anticipate a fight lasting more than a few minutes. On the other hand, Ngannou and Gane fought fiercely for the entire 25 minutes of UFC 270's main event. Early on, Gane grabbed control of the fight, causing the Predator Ngannou to miss. Gane appeared to be on his way to a victory in the second round of the fight. However, the Cameroonian strategy changed, and he regained control of the fight for the final 3 rounds. In the final 3 rounds of the bout, Ngannou scored 4 takedowns. This was more than all of his prior fights put together. Ngannou stunned everyone with his better ground game, deafening those who predicted Gane would tear apart the heavyweight champion. With a dominant victory against Gane, it'll be interesting to watch what happens next for Ngannou in the UFC, as his future is uncertain. As usual, Twitter was split in two as the fans reacted to express their disappointment at not witnessing a grandstand finish to the fight. On the other hand, many people took to Twitter to congratulate Ngannou over his fantastic title defense, going nuts over his performance. A user wrote on Twitter, "Francis Ngannou has evolved into a complete fighter. We just witnessed Francis Ngannou Madoff. Francis dominating on the ground is the scariest thing I've seen." Next, Next, Jake Paul has expressed his desire to fight Conor McGregor. Jake Paul has hinted at making his UFC debut, fighting at middleweight against Conor McGregor. It looks like Jake Paul will not stop until he steps inside the octagon as an MMA fighter. As far-fetched as it might sound, Paul has constantly been hinting at starting an MMA career soon. The YouTuber turned professional boxer currently has a 5-0 record in his boxing career. He has KO wins over notable MMA stars like Tyron Woodley and Ben Askren. Now that he is more confident than ever, Paul recently expressed his desire to take up MMA someday. He has also been going back and forth with UFC President Dana White about joining the UFC. More recently, Paul took to Twitter, stating that he would fight at middleweight instead of cutting weight and fighting at welterweight. He also posted a recent picture of a beefed-up McGregor, hinting at a possible fight with the Irishman at middleweight. Jake Paul has also shown an interest in sparring with Mexican boxing great Canelo Alvarez. In a recent tweet, Paul responded to the notion of fighting Alvarez. Paul reacted with 3 ice-cold emojis to Michael Benson's tweet, which read, "Canelo Alvarez's next opponent apparently could now be one that a lot of boxing purists are not going to like." Up next, Dana White predicts when Conor McGregor will return. Many people wondered if Conor McGregor would ever fight again after he was stretchered out of the octagon with a catastrophic leg break. Now, months later, it's evident he wants to fight again, and we're all waiting to find out when that'll be. Dana White, the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, believes he is aware of the situation. McGregor will most likely return before the end of 2022, according to White, who talked to TMZ on Monday morning. He said, "I believe so. Yes, with his leg, he's doing everything correctly. This summer, I'm hoping he'll come back this summer." Of course, we all know that UFC 267, which will take place on July 2nd, will include International Fight Week, a McGregor fight card mainstay. That would be ideal. Lastly, Hooker will make his featherweight debut against Allen at UFC London. Dan Hooker is preparing to return to 145 pounds in a match with Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen competes with Hooker in a featherweight fight in the UFC. The promotion announced that the fight would take place in London on March 19th. Hooker had been planning the move since November when he successfully cut a test weight. With a 3-3 featherweight record in the UFC, the Hangman, as he is easily known, moved up to lightweight in 2017. He has since risen to become a top 5 contender in the division, defeating the likes of Paul Felder, Al Iaquinta, and Gilbert Burns. Hooker, on the other hand, lost a crucial fight to Dustin Poirier in June 2020 and then went 1-2, getting knocked out by Michael Chandler, beating Nasrat Haqparast, and then losing by submission to Islam Makhachev on short notice. Hooker's currently ranked 8th in the lightweight division. Allen is not a weakling, as he is one of the brightest contenders in the featherweight division. Allen has defeated several top fighters, most recently defeating Sodiq Yusuff by a unanimous decision last April to extend his winning streak to 10. He's undefeated in the UFC and has only lost once as a professional. This would definitely be some matchup. Heavyweight bout between Alexander Volkov and Tom Aspinall is scheduled to headline UFC London at the O2 Arena. And that'll be all for today. Thanks for watching.